Happy New Year. Bah humbug. Happy New Year. What's the big deal about the New Year? What's the big deal? I mean, it's just turning the page on the calendar, just going to another part of our appointment book. It's just moving over on our phone, seeing instead of 2017, 2018, what's the big deal about the New Year? Let's just go to sleep tonight, and tomorrow it'll be Monday, and we can forget about it. It's the New Year. Why? Because as one time O.C. Smith, who was the pastor at the time of the minister and spiritual director at the time of the City of Angels Church of Religious Science in Los Angeles, California. A lot of people don't remember him or the fact that he wrote a song way back in the I think it was even the 60s, called Little Green Apples. Anybody remember that song? A few people. God don't make the little green apples. It don't rain. Well, he was a religious science minister who wrote that song. And one of the things that he said on one New Year's Day, according to Louise Hay, he said that the New Year doesn't mean a whole lot in terms of changing you. It's just another day on the calendar. What makes the New Year significant is when you decide to change you. Because the change doesn't happen from the outside. The change doesn't happen because the calendar or the year changes. It happens from within. And it has to be an inside job in order for things to happen. And so he goes on to talk about that once we understand that, and once we realize that it's about the change from within, then the new year becomes something truly important and can become something truly transformational. And I remember a story that Gary Simmons told a number of years ago. Gary Simmons was a leader in the Unity movement, and he talked about a visit from these Hindu astrologers to the United States one year. And he says that he was one of the people who was fortunate to have an audience with these astrologers. And he was very excited about it because it was something that not everybody had a chance to do. That were making their way across the United States, and select audiences, people were able to do that. So he spent time with them. He said he was fascinated because they were able to put his chart together and all of that, and they told him about his past experiences in life. And it was so really amazing to him because they talked about some of the health challenges that he had faced, some marriages, a couple of marriages that didn't work out, other things that had happened to him throughout his life. And he was just fascinated that here were some people who had come all the way from India that had never met him before, who were able to give him all of these details about his life. And he was there, and it was a process. It was a kind of tedious process because they had to translate to, back and forth, because they didn't speak English, he didn't speak their language, and so it took them a while to talk back and forth. But he was just fascinated by all of that, and the fact that they were able to say all of this and tell him all of these things. And so he thought about it. He said, if they could tell me what happened in the past, just imagine what they're going to be able to tell me about the future. So when the time came to ask another question, and he asked them, well, what is my future life going to look like? He was really excited, and he was waiting, and the translator translated the question to them. They looked at each other for a moment, and then they said a couple of words back to him, and that was it. And he was surprised that, now they told me all this other stuff, and it took some time to do that, and they're going to tell me about the future, but they're using only a few words. I wonder what they're going to tell me about the future. And the response back to him was, more of the same. More of the same. And he thought for a moment, more of the same. And so he said to the translator, there's got to be something beyond more of the same. Ask them to tell me. What, and they said, well, our response was more of the same. He said, how can that be? How can they say more of the same? So they translated back to him. They took a few more minutes to talk to him, and then the response came back. The reason why it's more of the same is because most of us continue to think the same thing over and over and over again. So as we think the same things over and over and over again, we get it. It continues to happen for us. You all remember Mom's Mabley told us, if you always do what you always did, you're going to always get what you always got. So if we want to make a change, if we want to experience a difference in our lives, we have to change. We have to change our thinking. That's why Joe Dispenza has a book that's called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Because most of us are in the habit of thinking the same thing over and over and over again. We get up in the morning and we think the same things. We think about our work environment or our school environment, or our family and relationship environment, or our health environment, whatever it might be. And we continue to think the same things about expecting different results. And they're not going to happen unless we make the decision to change what we think, to change how we see things, to change how we view things. And when we begin to do that, then that's when changes can happen. And the new year, for many people, you always hear the debate about whether you should do resolutions or not do resolutions. And people say, I don't do resolutions because I don't keep them. And other people say, well, I do them, and all of those things. No matter how you phrase it, no matter what it is that you do, when you make the decision to make a change in how you think and how you respond to life, it will happen. And the new year represents a time that we can reflect on how things have been for the last 365 days, and then we can set some aspirations and some intentions and some goals for the brand new year. And that's when the new year makes a difference. So we find ourselves at the moment in which we are standing on the precipice of opportunity, on the precipice of something great happening in our lives and happening for us. It may be that we celebrate the things that have been great for the last year and things that have gone well, because I'm sure that all of us have had some things that have shown up in our lives in 2017 that we celebrate, that we just enjoy. It may be people in our lives, it may be opportunities in our lives, it may be all kinds of things that have happened for us in 2017, and we celebrate those things. And it's true to celebrate them. We ought to celebrate those things. It is evidence of the fact that we are in the divine flow and we are moving in that direction, and those things are happening for us in such a way. But also, as we move into 2018, there are some ways that we can do this whole thing about changing our thinking. And part of it is, and I remember reading this just the other day in something Louise had written, and you know, many of you who were familiar with her work know that she was very, very keen on affirmations. And she talked about using them in such a way that they help us to set our intention. And she talked about the fact that oftentimes at the beginning of the year, people will say something like, well, I don't want to smoke cigarettes anymore. And she said, already you have set yourself up for failure, because you put the negative in there, I don't want to smoke anymore. And she suggests something like, I am free from a desire for tobacco. Moving it in that way. And some people think, well, you know, affirmations, they say them 2 or 3 times and all of that, and they didn't work for me, and I tried it, and you know, how long ago was that? Well, it's not going to happen overnight. Our speech and our actions also have to be congruent. We have to be able to say things, and then our actions have to correspond with those things. Because what can happen, and it happens to all of us. I know that I'm guilty of this. I don't stand here and try to say, oh, I got it perfect. No. All of us need the reinforcement of affirmations and the idea that we are speaking into reality that which we wish to experience. And the really amazing thing to me is is how in this teaching we have been talking about that for a long time. And if you listen now to some of our brothers and sisters that come from a more mainstream understanding of religion, particularly Christian circles and other things like that, you will hear them talk about things now, about speaking your life into existence. All of those things. A lot of them pointed us and say, y'all crazy. And we just say, welcome to the fold. But ultimately, it's about if we set our intention and then we give those things our attention, it helps us to reach our destination. It's like driving, that when you get in the car, who gets in the car and doesn't know where they're going to go? Well, generally, most people, other than Caesar and Regina and Rena, will get in their car, no, I'm going somewhere. That we have a destination, we have an intention. And so we get in the car and we begin to drive off and to make it there. But what happens with a lot of people, there are a lot of distracted drivers these days. I get really upset when I'm driving along and I look over and I see a person driving like this. And so many people are doing it today. We're not only in actually driving a car, but for so many of us, when it comes to, because if we think about it, where we set our intention and our attention plus energy goals will ultimately mean we reach a destination or not. And so many people are distracted drivers. They're distracted manifestors. They are distracted creative, co-creative experiencers, because along the way, there's a, are we there yet? If you take a long trip with Emily, are we there yet? She does not like long distance driving, nor does Shelley, you know. Either one of them. It's funny how I had a daughter that doesn't like long distance driving, a wife that, so you know, are we there yet? Distracted driving. When you are in your journey, en route, you're not paying a lot of attention. I had a message number a couple of years ago, driving through the rearview mirror. You don't drive with the rearview mirror. You drive looking forward. You drive seeing yourself making it there. Yes, there will be times, because we all do it, where we will wonder, am I there yet? We know that along the way, it's the little things, it's the little transformations, it's the little things that happen that encourage us. Just as we see the road signs along the way, and now those of us that use GPS or some other device that is heading us in the right direction, that will tell us that we're going the right way. But the thing of it is, we've got to hold our attention on that. And sometimes there are going to be things that are going to distract us. There are going to be things that pop up that make us wonder if we're ever going to experience the things that we're going to experience. There are going to be people. That's why you don't tell everybody what it is that you have set out doing on your journey, because there are going to be people who are going to be asking, are we there yet? You haven't had that happen for you yet? You haven't seen that happen? You said that last year. It's 2018 almost now. And in 2017 you said you were going to do this, or this was going to happen to you. Like, it hasn't happened yet. That's why we don't tell everybody. We have those people that are companions along the way, that are partners in believing, that lift us up. That when we have those moments that we doubt, they're the ones that say, just hold on. It's happening. They may point out a few things along the way, items of interest, to help us know that we are toward our destination, and we are about to realize and see what's going to happen. I mentioned earlier the Act As If party that we had last year, and we're also doing this year as a part of our New Year's Eve celebration. And we do celebrate New Year's Eve. Don't let the message title fool you. We do celebrate New Year, the coming of the new year. But a part of why the Act As If is so powerful is because just simply saying, I wish to do this, I wish to be an author, I wish to be an entrepreneur, I wish to have a successful, fulfilling relationship. I wish to experience abundance in my life. Just simply saying that doesn't mean a whole lot. Yes, it's a part of the process, but simply saying a part of what we have to do, we have to learn how to feel it. As Neville reminds us, to feel it real, to feel it as if it's already happening in our lives, as if it's already fact and truth, as if it's already experience and manifestation. When we learn to feel it real, which means our conversations go to it being a reality, which means that we, even with our physical senses, begin to see ourselves in that space and in that place, that if it is that you wish to be an author, if it is that you wish to have a successful career, that you already see yourself signing for your fans before it even happens. You see yourself standing before people, maybe declaring some direction or something good that has happened for your work. You see yourself opening the door to your business or to your home, or you see yourself in harmonious relationships, that when the holidays come around and you're all together, or it might just be two of you snuggled up somewhere, and all of those things, but already seeing it. What kind of conversations would you be having if that were a reality? What kinds of things would you be smelling, tasting, touching, hearing, seeing? All of those things that bring us into an experience of it having been already done is important. You hear us say all the time when we talk and when we use our form of prayer, affirmative prayer, one of the things that we talk about is that it's already done in the mind of God. All that is possible has already been created in the mind of God, and it's about us discovering it and allowing it into our life and into our experience. And when we recognize that, then that's where, in what we do and what we get. And so when we talk about acting as if, that's why, when the person said to me about it being a game, I kind of, no, it's not a game. It's an experience, it's a practice, it's a discipline. It is a way of understanding life from a perspective where we see and we feel and we taste and we touch all of those things that would be a reality had we seen that. And sometimes, and when I was talking about my more traditional friends about that, and sometimes when they would sort of not be quite clear on all of that, and I would talk to them, and I would talk to them about how the Master Jesus, if you looked at the way in which he conducted life and his ministry, you could see the same things with him. Because as I remember someone once asking a question, and I've asked the same question, how many sick people did Jesus meet? How many, ultimately, as they would term as sinners, did Jesus meet? How many prostitutes did Jesus meet? All of those things that we like to put people in this category, that category. And the answer is none. The answer is none. Because as he understood life, and that's why we call him the master teacher or the way shower or whatever else it is that we wish to say about him, a part of that is that he saw beyond the immediate circumstances of those people and saw the truth. And he spoke from and he acted from the truth. So when he saw somebody who couldn't walk, and he would say something like, "Be made whole," he was already there. They might still be down here, but he might say, "The person, your sins are forgiven," which really meant that they were just really out of fellowship with who they are. He already was speaking that reality. He already was seeing that. He was already feeling it real. So he wasn't caught up in those things. And if you look at all of the other teachers and the avatars and the way showers and all, they were in the same way. That's all this is. It is seeing a reality that is beyond the physical senses. It is walking and talking and living and being and doing from that perspective. And when we gather that and get a hold of that and we learn how to do those things in our lives. That I'm already in 2018. I'm already experiencing and doing the stuff that I wanted to have happen in 2018. I'm 2018, I'm already there. Then when you get a hold of that and you understand that, then you know what the big deal is about the new year. This is an opportunity. This is a chance for me that all of the things that I was working on in 2017 might not have happened the way that I wanted them to happen, but I got another chance. I have another opportunity. I have even more room to work with. And as I do, I celebrate a happy new year. And so I say to each of you, happy new year. 2018 is going to be grand. Can't you feel it? It's going to be grand for all of y'all. And so it is.
So it is. invite you to take a breath, releasing this breath, knowing that there is only one presence and one power in the universe, and that is God. And as each of us takes in all that we have learned today, we take it in, we make it our own, and we simply live from those very truths. We give thanks for all that have participated today. We give thanks for the music, for the lesson, centering moment, the affirmative reading, and just the beautiful energy each and every person has brought into this space and into this place today. And moving forward, knowing that there are going to be some that grumble and complain and say, so what about the New Year's? Just another day. I'll go to sleep tonight, but when I wake up tomorrow, it's 2018. So what? But we move into a space and a knowing that it is a time of great opportunity. It is a time for me to let go of some of those things that had been kind of running amok and going over and over again and saying, you know what, it's time for a change. Not a change from things that are outside of me, but a change from within. And a knowing, not just a feeling, but I know that 2018 is the best thing yet to come. I can feel it. I can smell it. I can see it. Just with my whole being, 2018 is the greatest thing. So I release, I let go, and I let God, and so it is.